Assalamu alaikum student. Today our topic of discussion is entropion. It is an important topic we are going to discuss. Therefore, before explaining the entropion, before studying the entropion, I want to give you a little bit detail of anatomy of eyelid. When you will understand the anatomy of eyelid, then you can easily understand the entropion, the causes of entropion, the way of treatment of entropion. First of all, I want to explain the anatomy of eyelid. The outermost layer, the outermost structure and first structure of eyelid is skin. You have to remember, skin is the most thinnest part in our body. The second structure in our eyelid is subcutaneous connective tissue, that is white area. You can see this white area is subcutaneous connective tissue. What is, see, this is basically a loose connective tissue, the second structure. The third structure in our eyelid is orbicularis oculi muscle. This is an important structure we are going to explain. Always remember, orbicularis oculi muscle is supplied by seventh nerve palsy. Seventh cranial nerve supplies orbicularis oculi muscle. If there is seventh nerve palsy, then there will be lag of thalamus. When there is seventh nerve palsy, then there will be lag of thalamus. What is lag of thalamus? Then our upper and lower lids are unable to meet each other because of weakness of orbicularis oculi muscle. Lower and upper lids are unable to meet each other because of weakness of orbicularis oculi muscle. You can also say incomplete closure of eyelid is called as lag of thalamus. This was third structure. Now we are going to explain structure number 4. What is structure number 4? You can see in diagram, this red structure is levator palpebrae superioris muscle. What is this? Levator palpebrae superioris muscle. Levator palpebrae superioris muscle is supplied by third cranial nerve. This levator palpebrae superioris muscle originates from where? It originates from orbital apex. Levator palpebrae superioris muscle originates from orbital apex and it will insert to 3 structures. Number 1 is skin, number 2 is tarsal plate, number 3 is fornix conjunctiva. Levator palpebrae superioris muscle will insert in skin, tarsal plate and fornix conjunctiva. Now the fifth structure in the eyelid, you can see this yellow structure is here. This is submuscular structure. What is basically this? This is areolar tissue, submuscular areolar tissue. This is submuscular areolar tissue. Now I want to tell you that all the nerves are present in this area. The local, and for the purpose of local anesthesia, we will apply the injections in this area. Our sixth structure in eyelid is tarsal plate, this blue area. Tarsal plate. What is tarsal plate? It is a thick and strong structure in our eyelid. What is tarsal plate? It is a thick and strong structure in our eyelid. Always remember, tarsal plate is present in upper lid as well as it is also present in the lower lid. Because of thickness and strong, it will also provide the shape and firmness to our eyelid. Its tarsal plate also contains meibomian glands. You can say meibomian glands are also present in this area. Our 7 structure in the eyelid, this long structure you can say septum orbitale. Our 7 structure in the eyelid is septum orbitale. You can also call it as palpebral fascia. It is or it originates from tarsal plate. Here you can see it is originating from tarsal plate. Septum orbitale originates from tarsal plate. It will insert to periosteum of the orbit. Originate from tarsal plate and insert into the periosteum of orbit. Our last and our 8th structure is molar muscle. It is also a muscle. This muscle is supplied by sympathetic nervous system. Here you can say I have wrote sympathetic. It means molar muscle is supplied by sympathetic nervous system. Now it originates from levator palpebrae superiorus muscle. Remember, molar muscle is also a muscle. It originates from another muscle. It originates from levator palpebrae superiorus muscle in the upper lid, and it originates from the inferior rectus muscle in the lower lid, and it will insert into the tarsal plate. I have explained the anatomy of eyelid. Now we are going to explain entropion. Now it will be easy for you to understand entropion. Now we will explain what is entropion, what are the causes of entropion, what is the treatment of entropion. Let's go towards entropion. Student, I have explained the anatomy of eyelid. Now I am going to explain entropion. If you have understood the anatomy of eyelid, then this topic is so much easy for you because it is totally related to anatomy of eyelid. First of all, we will explain the definition of entropion. The inward turning of eyelid towards the eyeball is called as entropion. You can say the condition in which eyelid turn towards the eyeball is called as entropion. Then we are going to discuss the types of entropion. Basic 2 types of entropion: congenital entropion, acquired entropion. We will further divide acquired entropion into 3 types. First type is cicatricial, second one is senile, third one is mechanical entropion. Now we will explain these types one by one. First of all, we are going to discuss congenital entropion. Here always remember, congenital entropion is a rare condition. It is mostly found in the lower lid because of weakness of lid retractors. When the retractors of lower lids become weak, then entropion develops in the lower lid. If in any case it develops in the upper lid, then this develops because of macrophthalmos. What is macrophthalmos? This is the decrease of macrophthalmos. Basically, when eyeball is smaller in size as compared to normal eyeball. When eyeball is smaller in size than normal eyeball, then the mechanical support provided by globe to the eyelid will decrease. Because of decrease of that support, then there will be entropion in the upper lid. I have explained congenital entropion. Now, what is cicatricial entropion? It is common type of the entropion. It always develop in the upper eyelid. Now, what is senile entropion? This is age related. Always remember, senile means age. It is age related. It mostly develop in the lower lid. And why it develop? It develop because of decrease of orbicularis oculi muscle. Weakness of orbicularis oculi muscle. This develops because of weakness of orbicularis oculi muscle. Now, what is the mechanical entropion? Here there is lack of support of lid by the globe. In this case, this develops in case of anophthalmos. Now it is totally opposite to the congenital. In case of congenital, in the upper lid there were macrophthalmos. Its mean eyeball is smaller in size than normal. Here, this is N ophthalmos. Its mean here is lack or absence of eyeball. You can say in case of nucleation, in case of evisceration, there will be no eyeball in the eye, then there will be no support of globe to the eyelid, therefore eyelid start turning inward, otherwise thesis bulbi. Now I am going to explain what are the clinical features of entropion. You know, cilia, you can say eyelashes start to rub the cornea. Because of that rubbing, what signs symptoms develop? What are the clinical? Because of rubbing, there will be foreign body sensation, photophobia, itching. Together these clinical features, you can say watering, lacrimation. These are also the clinical features. Now what are the signs of entropion? Inward turning of eyelid. Here we will divide it in 3 grades. If the only posterior border of eyelid is turning inward, this is called as grade 1. If intern marginal strip is also turning inward, this is called as grade 2. If the complete eyelid is turning inward, then this is grade 3, and this is the most severe type of entropion. Now what are the complications of entropion? All the complications of entropion are related to cornea. Here, corneal ulcer, corneal opacity, corneal scar, corneal neovascularization. These were clinical features, signs and complications. Now I am going to explain the treatment of entropion. First of all, I want to tell you what is the treatment of congenital entropion. Basically, if you will not treat the congenital entropion, most of the time congenital entropion resolve with the time. It will be normal with the passage of the time. If it will not resolve with the time, then we will do Hart's procedure. What is Hart's procedure? In the case of Hart's procedure, the removal of a strip of retractors muscle. Here we will remove a strip from the retractors muscle. This is Hart's procedure. Now I am going to explain the cicatricial entropion. Here we will do plastic surgery. Which are the plastic surgery? There are 3 steps. Cicatricial treatment including 3 steps. First one is altering the direction of eyelashes. In first step, we will change the direction of eyelashes from globe. Number 2, we will transplant the eyelashes. Number 3, straightening the distorted torsus. We will straighten the eyelashes. I will explain this treatment into further 3 steps. ATP. A means anterior lamellae resection. T means tarsal wedge resection or tarsal fracture and transposition of tarsoconjunctival wedge. Third one is P. What is P? P is posterior lamellae graft. In 3 procedure we will do in which case? If there is a mild case, then we will do anterior lamellae resection. We will do resection of anterior lamellae only in mild case. If there is moderate case, then we will do tarsal wedge resection. We will do resection of tarsal wedge. If there is mild to moderate case, we will do tarsal fracture or transposition of tarsoconjunctival wedge. Third one is posterior. If case is severe, then we will do posterior lamellae graft. We will take the graft from where? We will take the graft from ear cartilage or hard palate. This was the treatment, complications, clinical feature, signs, anatomy, definition of entropion. If you have any question, you can ask from me. If you have understood this, then I request to all of you, please subscribe my channel, like, comment and share. Press the bell icon button so that every coming lecture will reach to you. Thank you so much.